What's going on, everybody? It's Lane here, and today we are going to be talking about my predictions for this year's college football playoff. Let's go. Starting off with the 12th seed, from the group of 5, I got Boise State. Head coach Spencer Danielson went 3-1 as the interim coach last season and led the Broncos back to the Mountain West Championship. The team has gotten better this year with the help of the transfer portal, acquiring wide receivers Cam Camper and Chris Marshall, and most notably quarterback Malachi Nelson, who only played one drive at USC but was a 5-star out of high school. The Broncos have running back Ashton Jeanty returning, who is one of the best playmakers in college football, and 4 of their offensive linemen. Their defense has room to improve but does not lack talent, with defensive end Ahmed Hassanin and linebacker Andrew Simpson returning, and safety Ty Benefield is on the rise after making 8 tackles in the LA Bowl against UCLA. For the 11th seed, I got Missouri. Mizzou has a favorable schedule and high-powered offense, with quarterback Brady Cook returning for the Tigers after breaking out last year. Luther Burden is the best wide receiver in the country, but he will not be Cook's only reliable weapon, as Theo Wease, Mookie Cooper, and tight end Brett Norfleet are all returning, as well as free offensive linemen. Running back Cody Schrader will be replaced by a transfer tandem of Marcus Carroll and Nate Noel. Mizzou's defense will be a lot different, as Corey Batoon will be taking over at DC after Blake Baker signed to LSU, and only 5 of last year's starters are returning. Nose tackle Christian Robinson and defensive end Johnny Walker Jr. highlight the front 7, and safety Dalen Carnell will anchor the secondary after losing both their starting corners to the draft. For the 10th seed, I got Alabama. Bama is officially heading into the first year of the post-Nick Saban era, but they were able to replace him with Kalen DeBoer, who is one of the best offensive minds in college football and led Washington to the national championship last season. Quarterback Jalen Milroe had a breakout season last year and could take another step forward with DeBoer. Running backs Justice Hayes and Jam Miller could be breakout candidates, and the offensive line is arguably the best in the country, bringing in Washington transfer Parker Brailsford at center, standout guard Tyler Booker returning, and left tackle Caden Proctor will emerge as one of the best linemen in college football after a great freshman season. Alabama's biggest concern will be their receiving corps, which lost Jermaine Burton to the draft and Isaiah Bond and tight end Amari Neblack to the portal, but they were able to bring in Washington transfer Jeremy Bernard, and true freshman Ryan Williams can make an impact right away. Their defense should be a solid unit, but they are a cause for concern, as they lost both edge rushers and corners to the draft, and superstar safety Caleb Downs to the portal. At the 9th seed, I got Notre Dame. The new 12-team format puts Notre Dame in an interesting situation, as they are unable to secure a first-round bye due to being independent, but their schedule is in their favor. The addition of Riley Leonard gives the Irish an upgrade at QB as a dynamic dual threat, and is coming in with the best supporting cast of his college career. Running backs Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price will ease the loss of Audric Estime. Mitchell Evans is one of the top tight ends in the country, and the Irish have a serviceable set of receivers in Jaden Thomas, Chris Mitchell, and Jaden Greathouse. Notre Dame's biggest question mark is their O-line, as they lost 3 starters, including Joe Alt and Blake Fisher, and Charles Jagasaw, who is supposed to be their starting left tackle, is out for the season. Defensively, the Irish rank top 10 in scoring defense and top 5 in total defense and yards allowed per play, and are returning 5 starters, including All-Americans Xavier Watt at safety, Howard Cross at defensive tackle, and projected first-round pick Benjamin Morrison at corner. At the 8th seed, I got Ole Miss. In addition to what I think was the best transfer portal haul of the offseason, Ole Miss is returning 14 of their starters from last year. The Rebels' biggest strength will once again be their high-powered offense, led by quarterback Jackson Dart, who is supported by a standout group of receivers that includes Trey Harris, Jordan Watkins, Juice Wells, and tight end Caden Prescorn. Losing Quinshon Judkins will leave a mark, but Ulysses Grant is still around, and a few running backs were added in the portal. 3 starters are back on their offensive line, and a couple of transfers add depth and competition at the open spots. The Rebels' defense will be much improved with another year of Pete Golden at DC and a handful of transfers, including defensive tackle Walter Nolan, defensive end Princely Umanmielen, and linebacker Chris Paul. For the 7th seed, I got Penn State. While the expanded playoff will make it a lot easier for Penn State to secure a spot, the offense still needs some improvement. New offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki will be calling the plays after coordinating one of the top offenses at Kansas. Drew Allar has a high ceiling but struggled this past season. Allar has more weapons to work with this season, highlighted by Ohio State transfer Julian Fleming as his number 1 wideout, Tyler Warren at tight end, and one of college football's best 1-2 punches at running back in Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen. But the biggest concern will be the offensive line that lost 3 starters to the draft, including Olufashanu. Penn State's defense last year ranked 3rd in fewest points allowed and 2nd in fewest yards allowed. Danny Dennis Sutton and Abdul Carter form one of the best defensive end pairings in the country, while Kobe King and Tony Rojas lead the way at linebacker. Penn State lost both their starting corners to the draft, but are returning 2 standout safeties in Jalen Reed and Kevin Winston. For the 6th seed, I got Texas. The Longhorns have successfully turned around their football program under Steve Sarkisian and are ready for the transition to the SEC. Quarterback Quinn Ewers is back for his 3rd season, and the receiving corps was restocked after losing Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, and Jatavion Sanders to the draft, bringing in wideouts Isaiah Bond, Silas Bolden, Matthew Golden, and tight end Amari Kneeblack. And the offensive line is among the best in college football, bringing back 4 starters, including left tackle Calvin Banks. Jaden Blue will have to take over in the run game, with rising star C.J. Baxter out for the year. On defense, the Longhorns lost standout tackles Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat, but former UTSA edge rusher Trey Moore provides boost off the edge. Linebacker Anthony Hill is a rising star, and the secondary will be improved with the development of Malik Muhammad and the addition of safety Andrew Makuba. For the 5th seed, I got Oregon. Out of the 4 new teams joining the Big Ten, Oregon is in the best position to succeed. With Bo Nix off to the NFL, the Ducks immediately replaced him by bringing in former Oklahoma quarterback Dillon Gabriel. Oregon's high-powered offense is highlighted by receivers Evan Stewart and Tez Johnson, the 1-2 punch of Jordan James and Noah Whittington, and 3 returning starters on the line. Oregon's defense is only bringing back 4 starters, but Dan Lanning was active in the portal, bringing in quarterback Jabbar Muhammad, linemen Derek Harmon and Jamari Caldwell, and safety Kobe Savage. Thrown in with pass rusher Jordan Birch, linebackers Justin Jacobs and Jeffrey Bassa, and defensive backs Tysheem Johnson and Jaleel Florence. The Ducks are more than ready to play top-notch defense in the Big Ten. At the 4th seed, I got Florida State. Head coach Mike Norvell has his work cut out for him after only returning 8 starters from last season. But since there is minimal competition in the ACC and they brought in a good group of transfers, the Seminoles should be able to remain at the top. The defense brings back 4 starters, including defensive end Patrick Payton and tackle Joshua Farmer, who both have big shoes to fill, with Jared Verse and Braden Fisk now in the NFL. Former Miami tackle Darrell Jackson will be eligible to play after sitting out for most of last year and will be a key piece on the interior. Azariah Thompson and Fentrell Cypress are a standout duo at cornerback, and transfer edge rusher Marvin Jones and defensive back Earl Little should both make a big-time impact. The portal also brought in some key contributors on offense, including quarterback DJ Uiagalelei, running back Roydale Williams, who is joining a deep running back room with Keziah Holmes and Lawrence Toafili, and wide receiver Malik Benson could be the team's number 1 wideout, and 3 starters are returning in the trenches. At the 3rd seed, I got Arizona. Jedd Fisch put the Wildcats on the map this past season. Even though he departed to Washington, Arizona is in a better position to succeed after moving from the stacked Pac-12 to the weaker Big 12. Quarterback Noah Fafita and receiver Tetaroa McMillan are one of the best pass-catch combinations in the country, while transfers Quayle Conley and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt provide a solid 1-2 punch in the backfield. Offensive tackle Jordan Morgan will be missed, but 3 of Arizona's starters are still around in the trenches. The defense is the biggest concern for the Wildcats, but new DC Dwayne Akina will be inheriting 5 starters, headlined by linebacker Jacob Manu, cornerback Tacario Davis, and defensive backs Trayden Stukes and Gunnar Maldonado, and San Jose State transfer Trey Smith should help on the edge. For the second seed, I got Georgia. Georgia's quest to a three-peat fell short last season, but as long as head coach Kirby Smart is around, they will remain one of the top programs in college football. Quarterback Carson Beck returns after a standout debut and will be behind a standout offensive line that includes tackle Ernest Green and guard Tate Ratledge. The Dogs added transfer running back Trevor Etienne, who should be impactful, while Colby Young and London Humphreys add depth to a receiving corps that includes Dylan Bell, Dominic Levet, and tight end Oscar Delp. Georgia's defense, as usual, will be among the best in the country, and are returning 6 starters, including safety Malachi Starks, edge rusher Michael Williams, and linebacker Smile Munden, but will need a few faces to emerge in the secondary. And finally, for the first seed, I got Ohio State. The Buckeyes lost to Michigan 3 seasons in a row and watched them win a national championship back in January. But now, Ohio State returned nearly everyone from last season and have the best roster in college football. Their defense returned 9 starters, including edge rushers Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau and cornerback Denzel Burke, and added former Alabama safety Caleb Downs. OSU could be the best defense in the country this fall. Offensively, the Buckeyes upgraded at quarterback from Kyle McCord to Kansas State transfer Will Howard. The running back room should be the best in college football, with Travion Henderson and Quinshawn Judkins. 4 starters return on the offensive line, and the receiving corps returns Emeka Egbuka, Cardell Tate, and brings in true freshman Jeremiah Smith, who was the highest-rated recruit in high school. Smith was excellent in the spring game and could already be in the Biletnikoff race in year 1. That's all for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications.